But see, your dumb ass got colonized by white people, and you now knowing that the upper echelon, because it's happening in the West Indies where the hell I came from too in Trinidad, everybody liked me because I was light-skinned. And I began to understand, my mother, bless her soul, bless my father, said, don't go fall for that shit. That's colonizing. That's what happened to us when we were colonized. Don't lose the sense of who you were. And I say that to all of my Borinquen brothers and sisters. Don't lose a sense to your African heritage and to your native heritage or your autochthonous heritage. Don't give a fuck how light you are. That can also be cured. Thank goodness I live in Florida now. I'm actually getting back to where I used to be when I was raised in the West Indies. I was at least 5 to 7 shades darker than I am. And I'm heading back there. But I'm not saying this just to kind of unload anything on you. Just remember who you are, my light-skinned brothers and sisters. Just remember what happened that got this situation, this amalgamation situation going. And don't fall for the projection that this white man is giving to you, that you're better or somehow whatever it is that you see on television where you don't see black people anymore. They had 11 new shows coming on and it's all about this straw-head, knuckle-dragging motherfucker. I'm sick and tired of seeing another blonde-ass female telling me how beautiful she is and the gorgeous, and then the evil one is white, but she got black hair. Look at the mindset that you're looking at. And this is who you are. This is who they keep looking for. Every time they look for their spirituality, they find this fucking face. And you still don't get it. And in your churches, you got some straw-haired motherfucker. Wake up. Because what I'm doing right now is showing you that these are the people that gave you the highest sciences that they're now taking and claiming for themselves. Next, just want you to see how beautiful you are. Look at that face. That got to be white. Oh, there's no doubt now. Isn't it amazing how they got all of our stuff in their museums, and we ain't got a museum for nothing. We walking around here, and they got us in museums. Nothing. You are the Tomo'amkan peoples. You claim their heritage. I don't care what they say. Now, if you look at this, this is a helmet, supposedly, of one flying a specific machine. That the piece that you see is actually a microphone. Oh, we're getting ready to get heavy now. Understanding and understanding that this is where you came from. Understand and understand that you had civilizations beyond what it is that they could ever hope to create. Oh, it looks pretty good. The skyscrapers look all fair, but you know what? A little shake on the ground and the whole goddamn thing comes tumbling down. Yours was built to be here forever. Forever and ever. The stones, they are still now mystifying and completely turning upside down all calculations, previous calculations. That's why the white man's science is so tenuous. It keeps changing every 5 years. What kind of science is that? There's science on the run. There's no consistency. It's not anchored in the truth. Yours is anchored in the truth because it has not yet left anywhere. Every time they dig, they find you. And when they dig for themselves, they find bones of Neanderthals. And then dig this. From Africa, they tell you you were knuckle dragging. And that somehow the higher relativity, the higher, stronger, more intelligent man migrated to the colder region. Now, first of all, if you're so goddamn intelligent, why would you leave paradise to go live in the fucking snow? Yet they tell you that that was a step up in intelligence for humanity. And of course, the Neanderthal man now can take all the credit for everything that happened, because guess what? He then migrated down to Africa and went to build the pyramids. That's what he's saying. Neanderthal went back to Africa and built the pyramids. This is who you are. Get to look at this because you will see the science behind it and what it really means. This is the sun, central Hunab-Ku. Look very carefully at the wheel, and you will see that each one of these represents a specific day in the calendar, going all the way around, each one being an influence emanating from here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 influences. Each one of these 6 is now relatively in sync with these specific tunes or days. And each one is a cycle. Each symbol means something. And each one of it, now you can see that wheel. All time is a wheel. All cycles represent a wheel. And that wheel tells you what happens to man, not because of what it is that he's doing, going to do from day to day. I'll plant this crop. No. Mayan or the Olmec or Khan actually were timekeepers of consciousness. They time-kept consciousness. What will the consciousness of humanity be during this period in the time cycle in the wheel? And they are telling you exactly what it is that will happen. Hold all questions until after, because we're going to have a whole set of time for just these questions. Next, please. And moving right along, I will then repeat. Who are the Khan? The root of the word is Lamed, the 12th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, meaning to teach, also to train, representing faculties of the brain. The Ch is derived from the word Chokhmah, meaning wisdom. You can keep going. Thus, the ancient etymological root translates the name Khan to mean teachers of wisdom, or those who teach knowledge and wisdom. Even the word Olmec, which is said to mean rubber people, has an entirely different meaning when the etymological root is decoded. The words OLM, meaning wall, Lamed, and Mem, together are transliterated into the colloquial as master teachers from whom systems of knowing flow. Also, since vowels in the ancient language are often interchangeable, the O may be substituted for A, resulting in Alim or Alim. In fact, these 3 letters are seen as the beginning words of the 2nd surah in the Quran. The European man uses the so-called Gregorian calendar to define his present space-time reference, a sequence based on a solar cycle of 365 days. But melanated high civilizations did not use a single reference of the sun as the measure and gauge of the center of all human perception and consciousness. Our ancestors had at least 18 to 22 calendars by which to measure our space-time reference to galactic and universal phenomena, as well as their relationship to evolutionary consciousness. To the Khan Olmec, each day in creation has its own sacred energy or purpose. There are 260 different combinations of 20 different day lords or sacred sun sigils. Does anybody know what a sigil is? Sigil is a symbol that represents a whole, in other words, if you want to condense a 1,000-word paragraph into one little sign, you can create out of those word symbols a specific sigil that would mean the whole paragraph. So you would take pieces of the paragraph and the meaning and then put them together and you would have a symbol. That's a sigil. The same way that you do when you begin to, what they do to you when they broadcast sigils into your brain, and you want to go ahead and get it, deserve a break today at McDonald's, and you know why. So, 20 different day laws of signs or light energies sent by the sun, and 13 different galactic energies or tones sent or broadcast as light code frequencies from the central sun of our galaxy. This is the symbol of the central sun of our galaxy. It is called Hunab-Ku. Here we have a reference of what I was speaking about earlier. I spoke earlier of the reference of the Earth to Mars and to Venus, to Mercury and to Pluto. Is show you the scale of what we are speaking about as we speak of the central core galactic sun. And even at the last part, I have not yet touched upon it. Next. Here we have a picture of the Earth in reference to Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter. Again, keep the reference of the Earth and see what I'm speaking about. Here is Jupiter as opposed to our Earth. Next. Here you see our sun in relationship to Jupiter, in relationship all the way down to our Earth. Wait. Here you see our sun in relationship to Sirius, in relationship to Pollux, and to Arcturus. This is our sun. But wait. Here is Sirius, here's Pollux, here's Arcturus, here's Rigel, Aldebaran, Antares, and Betelgeuse. Where's our sun? You can't even see it. Next. That is the reference I'm talking about when you speak about Betelgeuse and Antares. These are just part of the sun systems that are in place that are not even close to the size of Hunapku. So we are nothing more than essentially electrons spiraling around a galactic core atom of huge proportions, indefinable proportions. And around that, we have billions upon billions upon billions of galaxies. And this white man says we're the only one here. What monumental ego in God. Even his own people said you got to be a fool. Especially that Vatican fool. You know he knows something. With all the secrets his people done ripped off. All the civilizations he's just genocided and stole and ripped and destroyed. How much information is in those catacombs under the Vatican? Huh? Belonging to your ancestors. But you see, they can't do a damn thing with it. That's right. They can hold it in the museums, but unless the original owner holds them, shit don't get done. They got to give up everything they have stolen in that. Now we know that they are supposed to be, in this time, the keepers of all of the artifacts. But they are supposed to have relinquished this 20 years ago. When the Native Americans came to them and said, give us our artifacts so that we may save the environment, they refused to listen. And this is why they're going to be destroyed. The combination of both our solar sun's 20-day lords and the 13 galactic light sentinels constitute a harmonic sequence of divine intention vibrating a conscious index equal to 33 degrees. The resonating equivalent of 1 degree above the freezing point, or symbolically 1 vibrating degree above the present levels of consciousness that atrophies humanity's present perceptual cube of space. It means that when you're dealing with 32 and 33 degrees, that's the reason why the Masons deal with that. Once you get past 32 degrees, you're up at the freezing point, which means your consciousness is frozen at that level. The 33rd degree is you 1 degree above the lockdown cycle. Which is why when Nibiru came into our sphere of existence at an angle of the ellipsis at 32 degrees of the ellipsis and left at 33, the wink brought the whole consciousness index of the planet up. Next. The Tmoankat Olmec Mayan calendar is a diary of the cyclic personality and intentions of the central core galactic mind. In this diary, we find that evolutionary consciousness has taken very explicit and specific patterns of genetic-based enlightenment energies 7 times over a period of 16.4 billion years. And with each new round, the cycles of creation accelerated to a speed 20 times that of the previous cycle, each rate of acceleration matching the levels of consciousness attainment in humanity. These 7 cycles taken by the evolutionary consciousness stream by light accretion. Light accretion means that your consciousness is rising as a result of the specific fixing of light frequencies into your DNA codex. And what it does, the light frequencies begins to activate something in your DNA to create the DNA, to cause the DNA to create all these little antennae along the DNA tract that pick up more and more information. These antennae are created from protein. And the protein is actually created from the materials that you take in. And this material begins to create these little crystalline antennae along the DNA, and you get more and more information in the DNA, which then changes your whole body. So that if you were to have a baby sperm, the sperm now creates a child that is along that index, that consciousness index. Since our ancestral masters said that we are presently in the 6th cycle at 20 times the speed of the previous cycle, this would explain why time as we know it appears to be speeding up, while space as we know it is being reconditioned by the incoming light poles of cosmic redemption into a new containment of perception. However, it is not time that is speeding up, but our shifting angles of perceptual reference. As the angle velocities of the atom increase, which uproots the perceptual space-time anchors previously used to construct our individual cubes of space. According to the Olmec-a Olmec-Maya, the energy patterns of creation are situated in a spiraling, 3-dimensional linear pattern, like the pyramid cone consisting of 9 levels or cycles. The first, or bottom level of the pyramid, represents the longest period of corporeal consciousness incubation, the cycle of evolution that began approximately 16.4 billion years ago, a time which European Darwinists define as the cellular level of creation. The second level of cycle of the pyramid is 20 times shorter, due to the consciousness accretion and acceleration, and is dated approximately 840 million years ago, a time defined by Darwinists as the mammalian level of creation. The third begins circa 41 million years ago at 20 times the rate of consciousness acceleration, beginning what the Darwinists define as the cycle of the family, or Homo sapiens. The fourth level occurred 2 million years ago and is the tribal level. The fifth level 102,000 years ago and is the cultural and agricultural level. The sixth level occurred 516, or missing, 5,116 years ago, called the nationalist level, with man creating laws and sovereign nations. The seventh level occurred in 1775, called the planetary level. The eighth level began January 4th, 1999. This brought in our reconnection to the galactic level and so-called ethical considerations. The ninth level began February 10th, 2001, the universal level, denoting the expansion of the holographic cube of space-time perception. The addition of the 9 levels or cycles of the galactic consciousness pyramid, each cycle is further subdivided into 13 equal sections of time. The first level, circa 14 billion years ago, divided into 13 sections or heavens, is 1.26 billion. This is all technical for everybody who wants to do the research. Second level, 840 million years, divided into 13 heavens, 63.1 million years. Third level, 41 million, divided into 13 heavens, 3.1 million years. Fourth level, circa 2.2 million years, divided into 13 sections or heavens, 100,000 years. Fifth level, 102,000 years, into 13 heavens equals 7,900 years each. Sixth level, 5,116 years, divided into 13 heavens equals 396 years each. Seventh level, planetary level, 2 million years, divided into 13 heavens, 19.7 million years. Eighth level, galactic level, occurred January 4th, 1999, into 13 heavens, is 360 days long. The ninth level, the universal level, destined to occur February 10th, 2011, into 13 sections, becomes just 20 days long. So when we get to the 9th level, we will be spiraling at such a rate, at such a speed, that here triggers. Death will be coming much faster. Life will be coming much faster. Knowledge and anything that you put your mind to will be accelerated. So if you're in hate, that will accelerate. If you're in love, that will accelerate. if you're in the knowledge and you're looking for more understanding, understanding of your metaphysical self, that will accelerate. So whatever will be accelerated at 20 times the pace. In other words, according to the ancient Kemetic masters who originated the Kabbalistic sciences that disseminated into the world after the invasion of the Hyksos, the most profound secret pertaining to the creation mystery is that creation is actually universal negation. I'm doing this again because it's got to be something that you internalize. Creation is negation of the ineffable all, a negation of 10% of its quintessentiality. Creation is therefore the all participating in its negative reflection or shadow of self, which in the end is truly what it is not. Thus, this new consciousness cycle is set to teach humanity that whatever we fabricate externally or psychologically in accordance with Maya or illusion must be perceived of as a negation or negative reflection of our true selves. That the universal intelligence matrix does not respond to questions framed in the affirmative, for we will continue to get negative answers. Check the science, or answers that simply reflect the questions, not answer them. Realizing who we are not negates the projected illusion, revealing the point of origin of the projected self-image. When you understand who you are not from this particular point of illusion, who you are projecting into this illusion will become more evident. Right now you're masked in this flesh thinking that this is who you are. You are not. This is an aggregation of atoms and material substances that is now clothing itself around the projected image of yourself from a place that you are not yet or even remembering that you are aware of. You are a point of reference projecting into third density space. And as such, you are now participating in an illusion of atoms. Think about that. Once you know who you are not, you will know who you are. It's basic equilibrium. It's using ma'at. Here we go. The Sefer Yeserai. Hold that image for a second. Y'all think that's Jewish. And y'all gonna get pissed at me because I'm about to talk about some Jewish shit. No, I'm not. Nope. First, we must know that those who control the present paradigm structures of reality are not government agents. They're a priesthood of occult scientists and second-order entities who have used the ongoing revelations of ancient knowledge to construct a sophisticated network of manipulation, fear, and control unsurpassed in all previous history. They have used the accumulated knowledge of man as a weapon against man. To understand the sophisticated nature of this beast's magic entails an understanding of the etheric properties of life and the material realm, and how these properties are utilized to condition the operative fields of consciousness. It entails the study of an extremely ancient science of elemental alchemy based on the principles of elemental formation and dissolution. And such knowledge existed way before what it is you are believed to have known as time. And so we open the door to what is called the Sefer Yetzirah. Just the remnants that comprise this little tiny book are evidence of the magnitude of knowledge once possessed by our Kemetic ancestors. The Sefer is a two-dimensional schematic. The Sephiroth is a two-dimensional schematic delineating a 10-dimensional reality. Listen carefully, about to get that. The Sephiroth is a two-dimensional schematic delineating a 10-dimensional reality of the isness of time, space, as mapped and viewed through the eyes of the Adam and Eve Kadmon within the realms of negated Ayin. In decoding the cube of space, we must first study the science behind how our individual perceptual envelopes were formed, how the mind is cocooned and marginalized in its thought processes through the metaphoric manipulation of words. This entails an understanding and universal galactic origins of the energies used to condition the operative fields of intelligence and consciousness. It entails the study of an ancient science based in the principles of elemental formation in an ancient language derived from Earth's mother tongue called Aburu, which became fragmented into the ancient dialects now known as Middle Nature, Sanskrit, Hebrew, Twi, the language of the Dogon, and all of the ancient languages we now are studying. From the ancient master teachers who were known by the names of Jehudi Thoth, Esau, Quetzalcoatl, Laotse, Enoch, Velacosa, Buddha, Zoroaster, Methuselah, who all walked the earth during the times of Pangaea, Kemet, Sumer, India, before the Great Flood and assorted cataclysms, humanity has witnessed infinite cycles of evolution in consciousness where master teachers have returned to elevate present humanity in their next stages of higher perception. And evidence of them having been here is now coming to light every hour of every day, especially with the present declassification of the ground-penetrating radar scalar. Astonishing data has surfaced about the enormous labyrinths of underground systems, and evidence of advanced civilizations are now coming to light. Past advanced civilizations are now coming to light. At places like Guatemala, tunnels have been mapped under the Olmec Mayan pyramid complex at Tikal, which extend over 1,500 miles into the opposite directions of the country. Tunnels! This is said to explain how a civilization of 12 million people disappeared at the arrival of the Caucasoid. The Sidar radar was used in Kemet back in 1978, and it discovered an enormous subterranean complex beneath the Great Pyramids. For 30 years, top-secret excavations were conducted, which resulted in a film work yet to be shown to the public. It is called Chambers of the Deep. They won't release it. This film showed the discovery of a megalithic metropolis, 1/2 to 1 mile below the Giza pyramids, that's been dated at over 15,000 years old. It has been dubbed by the secret scientists of the Jason Society as the City of the Gods. The film shows hydraulic underground waterways, massive chambers the size of the largest cathedrals, statues the size of the width of the Nile. Let me say that again. Want to know how bad you were? Statues the size of the width of the Nile. Underground. Hello, somebody. They were carved in the mountainsides of the caves. The researchers literally risked their lives to bring lights and cameras into these dark abysses, tenuously using little rubber rafts and dinghies to cross subterranean rivers and mile-wide lakes underground. They found a treasure of artifacts, scrolls, and carvings with your black faces on them. They unearthed technology so advanced, we look like we're in the Stone Age. Their technology was way beyond machine technology and showed evidence that they cracked the genetic code. It was based on higher light-based physics. Light-based physics. Just sitting here, having gone through the research and what it is I'm telling you, I'm only giving you a piece so that we can move along. For example, it's been finally discovered that the Great Pyramid is harmonically tuned to a specific frequency or musical tone. That each stone has a musical note attached to it. That the sarcophagus in the center part of the pyramid is tuned to the frequency of the human heartbeat. That it mirrors the positions of planets and stellar systems. That it mimics the chakras and harmonic cavities of the human body.
that it mimics the pineal or the brain and the pituitary, that these great pyramids around the world were voice-activated geophysical computers. It's referred to as the Circle 7 or Cycle 7 Quran. The Cycle 7 Quran. Now the word Quran has many meanings, having evolved over time. It's been said to mean that which is spoken, that which is preached, the call of God to come forth. He reads, he recites. From the Siratic or Quranic or Quryana or lesson, scriptural reading, earliest meaning, or the act of reciting, or something that is set down. So my favorite meaning for the Quran is the final revelation of God. Thus we say that Prophet Noble Drew Ali, as one of the messengers sent back to realign the minds of black peoples in the diaspora, gave us a book of ethics and proceedings to prepare us for the incoming shift of consciousness through his 7-cycle book of the revelations or the final revelations of God. The book of the 7th cycle is a preparation for those who are to inherit the cycle beyond the present incoming cycle, which is the 6th cycle, that mundane environment humanity is destined to inherit. Also, the popular Quran and the Hadith mention a future time of judgment. Listen carefully. It mentioned a future time of judgment and resurrection, a time which is known as the Qiyamah. In the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, this time is indicated as coming sometime after 1400 years of the Hijri calendar. And so with that, I would like to say to you, Brother Black Dot.
I'm here.
Oh, you have a...
I don't have one.
Oh, you don't have one?
Want me to turn the lights off first?
Yes, I'm going to turn the lights out first. We're going to go over everything that we just did. But this time, kids, we're going to have pictures. And of course I say welcome, everyone. It's like you're going back in time. Oh, okay. Ooh.
Let me know when you're ready.
I may need to feel you. All right, everyone. We're going to be going at a rapid pace because I'm not going to be going back to telling you anything. Somebody give me a time check.
You good? You good for about an hour, maybe hour and a half.
Okay, I'm good then? All right, well, I will be going back to the notes. Next. The name of this particular lecture, and I'm bringing you back for those who came in late, is the Astro-Metric Timetable of the Olmec-a. And listen carefully. Transcending the third cube of metaphoric space-time reality and the cipher of the 13th Sapphira, the mathematics of consciousness containment. Now, you know I do all these elaborate things, and if you don't see elaborate stuff on my tapes, you know it don't belong to me. Somebody move it. The Astro-Metric Timetable of the Olmec-a, always, brothers and sisters, no matter what it is they try to push to you, know that the Olmec, or so-called Olmec, and the Maya, essentially are Johnny-come-lately terminologies that have nothing to do with what's really going on in Mesoamerica. If I had the time, I would speak to you of sciences and information about the place that you now inhabit called the Americas that will blow your mind. Your ancestry, your DNA, your genetics are here. It didn't come from Africa, you've been here. And that's another part that we have not yet, coming out of the old school from our masters, that's something that only one that I've known of, that was Van Sertima, who actually promoted that at a very heavy thing when it came before Columbus. Now what I'm about to do is to show you, or give you a historicity, so that we could actually give you a sense of what it is that we've been talking about when we were talking about it and asking you to deal in your right brain. Now you can deal in your left brain. Next. Brothers and sisters, that is a Tamo'ankana. That is the Olmec Father. Next. Those are the Mayan sons. Know the difference. You and your fathers and your mothers set the stages for these fathers and mothers. They came later, much later than your people. They were transplants. Everything now is showing that your people were here as the Father. I'm about to show you exactly what it is that these people are trying to get away with. It's going to blow your mind what it is they are trying to perpetrate to their own people. Of course they're going to try to sell it. They would never, ever release the book that I have here. They would never come into the black community with it. And if they did, they'd be laughed out. But in that book, brothers and sisters, has some of the most profound sciences that your ancestors left here and that they have adopted, and that they are creating whole textbooks saying that they're the ones who did it. Next, please. To tell you the name, you are the Tamoan Khan. The people were the Tamoan Khan. This is how it was spelled. This is how I had researched it and found it. And of course, this is the name that was given to the people by the people who lived in the areas. And again, Brother Mahir El just opened up a whole door for me when we were thinking that this is the name they gave to themselves. Still no one knows what they call themselves. But they know the people who are the residual members of the tribes and the people who lived in the area, they know what they call them. And they call them Tamoan Khan. And Tamoan Khan are those who teach the wisdom, those who are the teachers of the wisdom. Yeah. First and foremost, I want to give thanks. I want you to see that all these beautiful images and the way they came together were done by my wife, Dr. Nalani. She is the master craftswoman who always puts together my PowerPoint presentations. You got to give it up for her. I feed her the raw material, and she takes it, and she's the one who smooths out the rough ashlar into the smooth and perfected ashlar. Look here at all these white people that I'm showing you right now. I remember talking to Dr. Van Sertima one day on the phone, and he said that the reason, when I was talking to him, it was about 20 years ago, he said that the whites who discovered it said that the reason why the people in that area made faces like these was because the wind might cause an erosion of the sharper noses. And so flat, broad noses lasted longer on statues. And I said, and that was their official and scholastic explanation. Both of us laughed. Next, please. Just to give you an idea of the pictures of the people. And the funny part about it is, Europeans are not looking in Europe for gold, silver, pyramids, or anything spiritual. There is nothing spiritual in Europe, and nothing spiritual ever came out of Europe. So whenever Europeans are looking for something to find out who they were, they always transplant themselves. Now you need to go up on the website and punch in a man's name. His name is Tim Wise. And Tim Wise breaks down his own Caucasoid brethren by saying that because of their deficiency and who they are, they tend to project the worst of themselves onto others and say, see, that's who they are. Well, they've used that same type of psychosexual pathology to project themselves into Africa, to project themselves into places around the world where they're digging up in your graves, digging up places where people buried themselves and say that that's where I'm going to be forever. No, we were going into their grave. Imagine if we were going into Europe in their graveyards and start digging up in their graves. Well, they're in the graveyards of our people, but you see, they've got Arabs who are over there now, who are also part of the whole machinery of the Vatican. And you have a pontificating jackass named Awas, who's over there standing in front of the pyramids talking about his fucking ancestors built this. And then he could say that King Tutankhamun, but see, we never put ourselves in front of God. We never named ourselves in front of God. We always said Amen. We came after God. It's funny how we switched and called him Tutankhamun. What was his real name? And why was the significance of his name now switched from Tutankhamun, from Amen to Tutankhamun? That was something we never did. We never spoke the name, our name, before God's. So now you have him saying, no, Tutankhamun wasn't white. You look at that little black face.
He directed it at us, too, African-Americans.
Oh, yes, he did, because we have no power. We're too goddamn busy not finding out our own spirituality. So they could always deny us. But you see, the face of that little boy Prince is undeniable. I could walk up and down the streets of Harlem and see his face on damn near every child I walk by. And yet still they're going to tell you he was not black. Then what was he?
He didn't say.
White boy with a D10. That's what it was. Next, please. Again, I will show you the beautiful black faces of your ancestors. Of course, they all take the credit because we discovered it. The reason why black people are not discovering anything is because we are left back here to keep the spiritual index of this planet intact. If we left this European to his own fucking resolve, they would have blown the goddamn place up already. Could you imagine that 3/4 of the planet is dark peoples, and we let 1/3 of the planet run roughshod across this shit? Imagine if black people were to lose patience and say, fuck it, I don't give a damn about my job. I don't give two shits about where I'm living. I don't give a shit about where I'm going to eat. Fuck you. That's some dangerous shit. You've got to make black people believe they need to be at a job. They need to have that Benz. They need to have that shit. Because every time you feel you're going to suffer, you start getting scared. That's why I say, black man, you worry about what happened about your woman. My book is going to come out and talk about the sisters, but guess what? I say it's written for sisters, but dedicated to the brothers. The problem is, the reason why a lot of our sisters have gone astray and then got infected by the Oprah virus is because we no longer feel the need or have the balls enough to die for anything. We don't want to go back and get them. So of course, who they are the support systems of our whole human race. So if you don't want to get them over there to support you in something, to get your mind targeted, they'll go and support the society. Because why? You're giving them the children, and you ain't taking care of them. So we got to get back on track and begin to understand and understand that if you as a man don't assume the role of a man, then you give twice the burden to your woman. Now she got to be a man, and guess what? Yeah, they're out there now. Every woman I see out there now from the age of like 19 down or going up to 20, 25, all of them want to have a dick. Or act like they do. None of them are being groomed to have children and to support a family. Because I can't see a black man in any commercial anymore. And if I do, he's playing Sambo. I see you being paired with a whole lot of other people. I see a whole lot of, and the thing about it is, I also had a thing with my brothers, because I'm Castilian, from Spain, direct descendant from King Philip. I'm not proud about it. That's why I got my name. So what? All the shit that's going on right now, I remember a brother named DMX, or DXT, good brother. He said that how they had a meeting for hip-hop, and there was what do you call those people who sit down? Panelists, but all their SOBs. And it was a hip-hop convention, and it was supposed to be about everyone, black, Hispanic, everybody getting ready to deal with hip-hop, what we going to do. In the audience, light-skinned, very light-skinned Hispanic brother stood up and said, man, I don't see no Hispanics up there. Because everybody up there was black. And he said, you don't? Brother stood up and started speaking to him in Boricua.
Borinquen. He said, see, that's how racist your fucking ass is. See, you deny your own black grandmothers in Puerto Rico. And you keep forgetting that because you speak Spanish, that you somehow think that you Spanish. This is who you are. Get to look at this because you will see the science behind it and what it really means. This is the sun, Central Hunapku. Look very carefully at the wheel, and you will see that each one of these represents a specific day in the calendar, going all the way around, each one being an influence emanating from here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 influences. Each one of these 6 is now relatively in sync with these specific tunes or days. And each one is a cycle. Each symbol means something. And each one of it, now you can see that wheel. All time is a wheel. All cycles represent a wheel. And that wheel tells you what happens to man, not because of what it is that he's doing, going to do from day to day. I'll plant this crop. No. Mayan or the Olmec or Chimuan Khan actually were timekeepers of consciousness. They time-kept consciousness. What will the consciousness of humanity be during this period in the time cycle in the wheel? And they are telling you. But see, your dumb ass got colonized by white people, and you now, knowing that the upper echelon, because it's happening in the West Indies where the hell I came from too in Trinidad, everybody liked me because I was light-skinned. And I began to understand, my mother, bless her soul, bless my father, he said, don't go fall for that shit. That's colonizing. That's what happened to us when we were colonized. Don't lose the sense of who you were. And I say that to all of my Borinquen brothers and sisters. Don't lose a sense to your African heritage and to your native heritage or your autochthonous heritage. Don't give a fuck how light you are. That can also be cured. Thank goodness I live in Florida now. I'm actually getting back to where I used to be when I was raised in the West Indies. I was at least 5 to 7 shades darker than I am. And I'm heading back there. But I'm not saying this just to try to unload anything on you. Just remember who you are, my light-skinned brothers and sisters. Just remember what happened that got this situation, this amalgamation situation going. And don't fall for the projection that this white man is giving to you, that you're better or somehow whatever it is that you see on television where you don't see black people anymore. They had 11 new shows coming on and it's all about this straw-head, cave-drag, knuckle-dragging motherfucker. I'm sick and tired of seeing another blonde-ass female telling me how beautiful she is and the gorgeous, and then the evil one is white, but she got black hair. Look at the mindset that you're looking at. And this is who you are. This is who they keep looking for. Every time they look for their spirituality, they find this fucking face. And you still don't get it. And in your churches, you got some straw-haired motherfucker. Wake up. Because what I'm doing right now is showing you that these are the people that gave you the highest sciences that they're now taking and claiming for themselves. Next, just want you to see how beautiful you are. Look at that face. That got to be white. Oh, there's no doubt now. Isn't it every 5 years? What kind of science is that? There's science on the run. There's no consistency. It's not anchored in the truth. Yours is anchored in the truth because it has not yet left anywhere. Every time they dig, they find you. And when they dig for themselves, they find bones of Neanderthals. And then dig this. From Africa, they tell you were knuckle dragging. And that somehow the higher relativity, the higher, stronger, more intelligent man
migrated to the colder region. Now, first of all, if you're so goddamn intelligent, why would you leave paradise to go live in the fucking snow? Yet they tell you that that was a step up in intelligence for humanity. And of course, the Neanderthal man now can take all the credit for everything that happened, because guess what? He then migrated down to Africa and went to build the pyramids. That's what he's saying. The Neanderthal went back to Africa and built the pyramids. Amazing how they got all of our stuff in their museums. And we ain't got a museum for nothing. We walking around here and they got us in museums. Nothing. You are the Amkan peoples. You claim their heritage. I don't care what they say. Now, if you look at this, this is a helmet, supposedly, of one flying a specific machine. That the piece that you see is actually a microphone. Oh, we're getting ready to get heavy now. Understanding and understanding that this is where you came from. Understand and understand that you had civilizations beyond what it is that they could ever hope to create. Oh, it looks pretty good. The skyscrapers look all fair, but you know what? A little shake of the ground and the whole goddamn thing comes down. Yours was built to be here forever. Forever and ever. The stones, they are still now mystifying and completely turning upside down all calculations, previous calculations. That's why the white man's science is so tenuous. It keeps changing.